Hello there, people of the internet. How is everybody doing today? I'm doing alright. Thanks for asking. We're going to go over a couple of not very well known cartridges that have been made by Remington and Winchester over the past 2 decades or so. And I have a couple here that I've already gotten flack for because people haven't heard of them, and so as a result, they yell at me and tell me that I am wrong whenever it comes to what these cartridges actually are. So today we're going to be talking about 7mm Remington Ultra Magnum short action. So what this right here is it is a short action Ultra Magnum cartridge. As you can see, it's not very large. This is a cartridge that actually came out in 2002 to compete directly with the 7mm Winchester Short Magnum, which we will talk about in a future video. If you like talking about cartridges like this, whether or not they are mainstream or not, then subscribe to the channel because you are among the right crowd. I don't have any firearms chambered in these, and I don't have any experience firing these cartridges, so I can't necessarily talk about how it feels to actually legitimately shoot these things. There are very few companies out there making rifles chambered in 7mm short action Remington Ultra Magnum. So let's go ahead and have a look at some of the numbers here, because I'll tell you what, I was amazed at what this little tiny cartridge can do. For a reference point, for a reference point right here, I have a Remington Ultra Magnum. This is the Remington Ultra Magnum and the Remington Short Action Ultra Magnum. And they each have very, very similar ballistics, despite the fact that the Short Action Ultra Magnum is considerably, well, shorter than the Remington Ultra Magnum. Have you guys gotten tired of me saying Ultra Magnum yet? I know I have. Take a shot every time that I say that. But with our Remington Short Action Ultra Magnum here, I found a couple of different loadings for it, so I went ahead and I just kind of got the average of what I could find. These right here tend to lean more towards using anywhere from a 120 grain projectile to like a 160 grain projectile, although there are people out there who will use lighter weight and heavier weight projectiles just because of the twist rate most of these rifles are chambered in. That's typically what you're going to find whenever it comes to these cartridges. So the 7mm short action Remington Ultra Magnum, it's going to send a 140 grain projectile at approximately 3,200 or so feet per second, and it's going to have 3,200 or so foot-pounds of energy on target. Let's have a look at 7mm Remington Magnum. I don't have a loading for 140 grain, but I do have a loading for 150, and it sends it at 3,100 feet per second. So that is pretty much going to be on par with our short action. Now the short action is also going to send a 160 grain projectile at about 3,000 or so feet per second, and you're going to see about 3,300 or so foot-pounds of energy onto its target. I don't think I have a 160 grain loading for my 7mm Remington Magnum, but I do have a 165 grain sent at just under that 3,000 feet per second. So the Remington Short Action Ultra Magnum is pretty much right on par with the actual Remington Ultra Magnum. Now this right here came out, like I said, in 2001 to compete with something that Winchester was doing. However, since this cartridge came out so much, well, not so much later, but since it came out later than the Winchester 7mm short Magnum, I apologize if I get the nomenclature is a little bit mixed up. There's quite a few different cartridges in this family. But the Remington 7mm Short Action Ultra Magnum came out in 2002 to compete with 7mm Winchester Short Magnum, which came out the previous year in 2001. The Winchester cartridge actually mimics very, very, very similarly to the 7mm Remington Magnum as well, which is probably going to be the most popular version of the Remington Magnum cartridges. This came out in 1968, I believe. Let's see if I have that written down somewhere. 1962, and it was designed by a gentleman named Les Bowman. I apologize if I am mispronouncing his name. But yeah, this right here came out, the 7mm Remington Magnum came out significantly sooner than any of these short action cartridges. Then the short action cartridges were developed to essentially have the same sort of performance from a short action. I know Remington designed these to work in one of their particular rifles. I can't quite remember what rifle it was. But they're very effective out to very long distances, especially if you start using long, heavy, skinny bullets, just because those have incredibly good ballistic coefficients. So, I have not, other than what I actually have on person, I have not seen this for sale, 7mm short action Remington Ultra Magnum. I haven't seen these for sale anywhere. I have not found brass for it anywhere, other than what I have on hand, which is only like 4 or 5 cartridges that I've managed to gather up from people giving me random batches of ammunition over the years. I have not seen this cartridge in existence literally anywhere. I have had people tell me that this right here is making a resurgence in recent years with hand loaders and wildcatters and whatnot, but for the most part, I have not been able to find anything on these cartridges. I have not seen a rifle chambered in it. I've never seen it shot. I just don't know much about these cartridges because they are so incredibly rare. Whenever I was looking these up and checking them out, I thought that 6.5 Jap was hard to find, but boy oh boy was I incorrect. 7mm short action Remington Ultra Magnum is definitely quite the difficult cartridge to find. It takes a .284 diameter projectile. It's a 7mm round, and they did that specifically to compete with a .284 diameter projectile that the 7mm Winchester short Magnum was being chambered in. As a matter of fact, I have one of those right here. This is the Remington short action Ultra Magnum, and this right here is the Winchester short action Magnum. They are incredibly similar in size and capabilities. As a matter of fact, ballistically speaking, they're basically twins. So, yeah, I guess that's all just a preference of whether or not you want to go with Winchester or Remington for your rifles. A lot of people would probably opt for Winchester because the 7mm Winchester short mag is significantly easier to find than Remington's counterpart for it. So, would I recommend it for hunting? If you got it, then go for it. If you're a hand loader and you want to go ahead and hand load these cartridges, and you have yourself a rifle chambered in it, then there's no reason why you shouldn't. .284 diameter projectiles are easy enough to come by. However, all of that being said, this isn't exactly something I would recommend somebody get for their first hunting rifle because it is a Wildcat cartridge, and the ammunition is very difficult to come across. So that's my 2 cents on this particular cartridge, and I'm sure that you guys are going to agree. Many people have not even heard of this to the point to where they are calling me wrong on what these cartridges actually are. And I'll go ahead and I'll show the head stamp right here, if it'll show up on camera. Hopefully that shows up on camera. That is in fact a 7mm Remington short action Ultra Magnum, and that's that's what it is that we're dealing with. So, thanks for watching, folks. That's pretty much all I have to say about this particular cartridge. We're going to go ahead and talk about the Winchester one next. Ironic that it's coming after the Remington one, but it is the one that was made first. So, if you want to stick around for that, subscribe to the channel and stick around for that. All that being said, thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you guys on the next episode.
Since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.